And a few of the other richest countries in the world, they have money coming out of their ears. You go to those countries, you see the most incredible airports being built or already built. You see bridges that make the George Washington Bridge in New York look like a toy. You see the most unbelievable things. And you come home, we're like a third world nation. You land at LaGuardia. It's broken, it's dirty. I mean, you know, I don't mind going over potholes in my car. I don't like doing it in a plane. But you got it. And they wouldn't be there except for us. We protect them for nothing, for nothing. So Libya, Saudi Arabia and the others say, we don't like Gaddafi. We don't like him. No. We'd like you to take him out. And Obama said, okay. So he forms a group, meaning NATO, which is us, by the way, just so you understand. NATO is us. You know, a lot of people say NATO, but NATO is largely us. So we don't even have control of what the hell we're doing. Gaddafi tonight's riding down the streets. Wait, can you believe this? He's waving at everybody. So we form a group, and listen to this one. Who's the leader of the group? France! France! France wanted to go in first. Now, of course, we haven't seen them since, but they were there the first time. And they got all the glamour. They took the glamour. So they form a group, and they go in, and Obama talks about the regime, maybe not, and we don't want to kill anybody, we don't want to hurt anybody, we do want to change government, but we don't want to hurt. Nobody knows what the hell he's talking about. And you know the other thing about Libya that really bothers me, because we get back again, it always gets back to China, because while we're spending billions of dollars being policemen of the world, China is spending billions of dollars a day buying the world. And calling us stupid. You know, I have a lot of friends. I just sold recently an apartment for $33 million. Can you believe it? Only in New York can this happen. But an apartment was just sold in a building that I have on Central Park West, $33 million, to a Chinese gentleman. And I get to know a lot of guys and a lot of big people from China. And they look at me. This is before, you know, by the way, about 2 months ago, they stopped talking to me so much. They're saying, shit, do you believe we're talking to this guy and now maybe something crazy could happen? They see these polls. But it's amazing. But they sit there, and before I did this, they'd say to me, because they're sort of friends of mine, you know, and competitors, but friends. They're saying, Donald, we don't believe that your government allows us to do this. The one guy looks at me and says, are they stupid? And I say, absolutely, they're stupid. So, you know, I don't blame them. It's like if you make a bad business deal, if you don't know what you're doing, you have to blame yourself. I blame our leaders. Here we have China ripping this country off like nobody's ever seen before. And we have the president of China come a few months ago to Washington. And we give him a state dinner. Now, when people are screwing you, you don't give them state dinners. You don't do it. So what happens is we send them home. And then you heard my statement, right? I said, no, we're not giving dinners. What we do is we sit down in my office for a couple of hours. We either make a deal where you stop manipulating your currency or not. If we make a deal, you can have a state dinner if you want. If you don't make a deal, you take McDonald's and you go home. That's it. Now, the Chinese economy is growing so fast, it's unbelievable. Our economy, we had some very bad news, it's just not growing. And you say, how can it grow? How can we have jobs? Ben Bernanke said fairly recently that the jobs won't come back for a long time. And I think he mentioned 5 years. And how can you have jobs come back when every time I want to buy a product, like as an example, television sets. As you know, I buy a lot of television. We bought a lot of sets in Trump International. Tremendous. Thousands of television sets, one order. So I said, I want an American company. My people look at me like I'm crazy. There's no American company. So we end up buying LGs from South Korea. Good television set, but why don't we make them? Why aren't we making them? You know, I'll tell you a great one. And I like the people of South Korea. It's great. I mean, I do business with them. I made a great deal with them in New York on Trump World Tower. It was a great deal. They were wonderful. But they don't even believe it. So here's what happens recently. We have this contract, and it's going to be signed with South Korea. And it's a big, big deal. And Barron Trump, who's 4 years old, wouldn't sign it from our standpoint because the deal is so bad. It's so bad. Like a moron would not sign it. Nobody would sign it. And what happens is our president goes there, and he wants to sign, but they don't want to sign. Because they want better. It's not good enough to just, you know, whip the hell out of us. They want it to be even more. So now what happens is times are a little bit different, and a couple of bombs get lobbed over, you know, to the island and from North Korea. So all of a sudden, North Korea is hitting them with a couple of little, like, lobbing over some bombs. They call us, they said, we would like very much to sign contract. You are a wonderful, wonderful trading partner. We love you very much. Oh, and by the way, do you mind sending the great aircraft carrier, the George Washington, and about 17 destroyers? Because North Korea is shooting at us. So what do? We have this great aircraft carrier, head over to North Korea. We have all these, the whole Navy, I mean, a big portion of our Navy is going over there. North Korea says, holy shit, this is bad news. This is a little bit more than we counted on. And they stop. We sign a terrible agreement. So then I said to somebody, you know, to start up that engine on a carrier like the George Washington, that costs you probably $1 million just to see if it's working. You know, you go bing, boom, $1 million. We know, right? In fact, they wanted to have a great airplane. And the pilot was saying, Mr. Trump, these engines, Rolls-Royce, these are the finest engines in the world. Listen, Mr. Trump, you want? I said, don't start it. I'll say, I take your word for it. I don't have to hear the engines, okay? I like to save money. I don't care how much money you have. You like to save. So listen to this. So we send the George Washington with all of the planes and the crew and all of the side ships and the destroyers. You know how much they paid us? Nothing. We're stupid. Our leaders are stupid. They're stupid people. It's very, very sad. And there are so many stories like that. You look at it, you know how many soldiers, thousands and thousands of soldiers in between North and South Korea. They give us nothing. In fact, they take our trade. Now, what would I do? Do a lot different. I'd say, thank you, darling, but I'll think about it. I think I'm going to make you very happy with it. So we have thousands of troops, and you talk about, you know, they have an expression, in harm's way. How would you like to be sitting between North Korea and South Korea, and you're sitting in the little barracks? Those guys are in danger. And you know what? That's fine. I'd say to South Korea, all those television sets you sell us and all the billions and billions and billions of dollars you make, we're going to protect you and we're going to make sure you're in good shape. But you're going to pay for it. Show us the money! And do you want to know something? They would do it in 2 minutes. If you say it. You know, somebody said these people are so protective of President Obama. I mean, it's like unbelievable. Some of the reporters come up and they say, you don't mean that. I said, what? What kind of a, you know, they're supposed to be like impartial. They go to me on television. You don't mean it. He's good, I'm telling you, he's good. I say, are you all right? Take it easy. I have never seen anybody protected like this guy. You look at what he's doing. Now, I said something and it came out about 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I've been thinking about it for a long time. But you know, nobody cared. Who am I telling? Phil Ruffin? What the hell does he mean? Contractors? What the hell does it? I've been telling friends. But I've been thinking about it for a long time. When we went to Iraq, everybody said, oh, we're going to Iraq. They have weapons of mass destruction. Well, they didn't. And by the way, they didn't knock down the World Trade Center. And they also killed terrorists. Now it's Harvard. You know, this is like going to Harvard of terrorism. If you want to go to Iraq, in terms